Good morning. So I was recently watching an interview with Mr. Beast. And if you don't know Mr. Beast, he has the number one YouTube channel in the world with over 366 million subscribers, right? And Mr. Beast has been YouTubing since he was 11 years old. He's currently 26. And I was listening to one of my favorite entrepreneurial podcasts recently, and the interviewer asked Mr. Beast whether or not he was happy. He asked him, was he happy? Now, this man, again, number one YouTube channel in the world. He's the founder of Feastables, a chocolate brand. He's the creator of a really popular game show, the Beast Games. He has a ton of ventures, a ton of businesses, a team that's includes hundreds of people, and it's estimated that his assets are worth billions of dollars, right? At least a billion. And he recently did an interview on one of my favorite podcasts, and the interviewer specifically asked him, was he happy? And he admittedly said in this moment, no, right? And it got me to thinking about happiness, and it got me to thinking about um, what it means to be happy, how much of our happiness we are in control of, and whether or not one really has what it takes to be happy. I was thinking about my own happiness, and I was thinking about how I got to where I am now. I'm at a point in time where I'm extremely happy in every area of my life. And I had to really think about, and listening to him answer that question, what it really takes to be happy. And so that's what I want to talk about today, y'all. Welcome back to the Plant Protocol Podcast, aka Monday Morning Keynote, with yours truly, Lisa A. Smith, your favorite plant-based health and business coach and personal development coach. And of course, the forever voice in your head. What's up, Instagram? What up, Ujo? All my regulars, come on in. Good morning on YouTube. Hey there, Stacy. Good morning to you as well. Today, we're talking about happiness. Several years ago, I created a framework in my business accelerator. So I teach business and I teach coaches how to have successful coaching businesses. So I help aspiring coaches and current coaches to grow their coaching business or establish their online coaching business. And several years ago, I created a framework inside of our business accelerator called the Trifecta of Transformation. And the trifecta of transformation, I break down three components that play a role in somebody's ability to change and somebody's ability to change. So when you're trying to coach somebody, you're really trying to coach them to a more optimal version of themselves and improved quality of life, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what area you coach in. It could be health like me, it could be business like me, it could be personal development like me. You could be coaching somebody in their finances, you can be coaching somebody in their relationships, you can be coaching somebody in their spirituality, you can be coaching somebody through healing. It doesn't matter. The goal for us as coaches is to get you to a place where you're optimized, right? And so I created this framework many years ago called the Trifecta of Transformation, where I break down three things that I believe must be present in order for someone to make significant change. And really quickly, the three things in the Trifecta of Transformation are desire, willingness, and capability. Okay. Now, the third one is the one I want to spend some time on today. It's capability. Okay. So the title of today's episode is, do you have what it takes to be happy? Because in listening to the number one YouTuber in the world and listening to his interview and him, like, kudos to him for his transparency and his honesty. Listening to him talk about how he's not happy in this moment really got me to thinking about what it takes to be happy, because a lot of times, I know for those of us who are underdeveloped, those of us who don't have a heightened level of self-awareness, we tend to believe that happiness is based on some external things, right? And many of you, I'm sure, because you guys are all super smart and you consume content like this all the time, you have heard people say that, happiness is an inside job, and happiness is your responsibility, and all of these cliches and all of these wonderful things. But I like to get in the weeds with stuff like this. And so today I want to tell you what it took for me to be happy. That's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about what it took for me to be happy in every area of my life. And I want to talk about what it might take for you to get there as well. So we're talking about capability today. Do you have what it takes? Do you have what it takes to be happy? right? And so I want you to think about an area of your life where you currently are, and I want you to think about where you desire to be. So somewhere where you haven't quite arrived yet. This might be in your health. I work with people every single day who are struggling to optimize their health. They either want to lose weight, they want to get off of meds, they just have recurring aches and pains and discomfort and inflammation, and they're really trying to get on the other side of that, right? Maybe it's in your career. One of the number one causes of chronic stress for a lot of people is their job, right? It's what they do every day for a living, whether you're working for somebody else or working for yourself, right? That is a point of contention for a lot of people. And so in this morning's keynote, I want to spend some time talking about what it takes to be happy at your job. What does it take to be happy in your health? What does it take to be happy in your healing? What does it take to be happy financially? What does it take to be happy overall? Like, these are things like every day people are like, help me. They're in my DMs, they are in my email, they are in my programs, and they're like, I'm trying to get from point A to point B, but there's something in between that needs to be done. And it's been my experience over the last several years, especially when I had to go through my healing journey of, abandonment from my father. It's been my experience that it takes something to get there. Like, it takes something. And I want to make sure you guys understand what it truly takes. And so I want to talk about this thing. So you guys all, I'm sure everybody's heard of IQ, right? And so IQ, it's like these standardized tests that measures human intelligence. And then many of you, especially if you've been rocking with me for a while, you've heard of EQ, emotional intelligence, which is your ability to understand and manage your own emotions and emotions of people around you. So that's EQ. But today we're going to talk about HQ. Okay, we're talking about HQ today. That does not stand for headquarters. That stands for your ability to understand and manage your own happiness. So for those of you who are watching right now, Instagram, YouTube, I want you to rate your happiness right now on a scale of 1 to 10, and just rate it overall, no particular area. Let's just say we were combining every area of your life: career, relationships, health, personal growth and personal development, spirituality, finances, all of that stuff. On a scale of 1 to 10, who's willing to be honest today and rate their current state of happiness? Like, in this moment, Monday, February 24th, not where you desire to be, not where you were last week or last year, but in this moment, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you guys rate your happiness? Because this was a big deal for me when I listened to this interview with Mr. Beast, and he said he was not happy, which wasn't surprising to me, but I think it's surprising to a lot of people who think, if you're a multimillionaire or a billionaire, that you like happiness is automatic. So I was reading some comments after the interview and people were saying, I'm surprised. I'm like, well, why would you be surprised? Happiness ain't got nothing to do with the amount of money or things you have. So I'm seeing the votes coming in. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm seeing fives and sixes. What do we have here on YouTube? Where y'all at? 5.3, 7, 10, 5. Okay. I'm seeing it's 7. Okay. All right. So kind of mid. What I'm seeing the majority of people are average on the happiness scale. On the scale of 1 to 10, I'm seeing average. All right. Shout out to Alita. All right. 10. That's what's up. That's what's up. Let me see. Get a couple more scores in here. Another 7 on Insta. All right. I'm seeing average, average, average. Now, here's the next question. If you are less than a 10, my next question is, do you know specifically what it takes for you to get from where you are, 5, 6, 7, to a 10? That's my next question. Yes or no? Like, if you're less than a 10, do you know what it takes for you to get to a 10? Like, are you crystal clear on what it takes? And I mean like the specifics of it, not like, oh, I just got to be more bold. But I mean, like, specifically, do you know, are you clear on what it takes to get from a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8 to a 10? Okay, I'm seeing some yeses. Shout out to Karen. Shout out to LaWanda. Okay, all right. I'm seeing a yes. Okay. The sun is lit on Instagram said it takes a flip phone and a once a week cuddle with a partner. Listen, bring back the flip phone, Jesus. Okay. Take away the distractions, God. She said it's going to take a flip phone. Amen. Okay. So I see mostly yeses. I see one no. Okay. All right. Very good. So what does it take? Now, if you know, I saw a lot of yeses. So if you know what it takes, here's my final question. Like, Lisa, I didn't come on here to take a quiz this morning. So here's the final question. All right. You said you're less than a 10. You said you know what it takes to get to a 10. And then this next question is slightly different. Do you have what it takes? Be honest. Like, I don't know, I'm not sure, and maybe I'm struggling. Because if you know what it takes and you're not there, I'm assuming that just means you're on a journey and you're doing the things. But if you're not doing the things to the best of your ability, my question becomes, do you have what it takes? That's different than, do you know what it takes? Right? Because there's no reason why we all shouldn't be quickly approaching 10. So if you're being completely honest with yourself, do you have what it takes? I have a mastermind called Clarity, and I do a private podcast for Clarity, right? So most of you guys probably know about my public podcast, the Plant Protocol podcast, but I also have a private podcast called Clarity, and I did an episode for them about a month or so ago. And in that episode 12, it was entitled, Do You Have What It Takes? Because here's what I find. I'm going to tell y'all what I find. I've been a coach for a long time. As you guys know, I say that almost every episode because y'all need to know. Okay. I've been a coach for 10 years, right? And what happens a lot of times is, like, when people come into our ecosystem, they do our challenge, or they come into Farm to Table, our plant-based coaching program, or they come into my business accelerator, like, they're excited, they're pumped up. Like, I want to lose weight. I want to get off these meds. I want my skin to clear up. I'm sick of these headaches. I'm sick of these digestive and these gut issues, these stomach issues, coach. Like, I want to love what I see in the mirror. I'm sick of hiding, coach. I'm sick of not showing up on assignment because I have insecurities. And so I hear all the things, right? And then when it comes to business, people come into our business accelerator and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sick of seeing people unhealthy and unwell. I'm so sick of people in my church and in my community and in my family struggling with obesity and diabetes and high blood pressure. And they come in, they have so much passion about health. They're like, I want to help people. I want to help people. I want to help them overcome these health issues. I want to help them eat better. Coach, help me build a business. I need to know how to do it. I need to know how to be a teacher, and I need to know how to be a coach, and I need to know how to put together an offer, and I need to know how to sell that offer. And so people come into our programs excited. I want to get healthy. I want to start a business. I want to be a better version of myself. They come into my mastermind. I got imposter syndrome. I struggle with identity issues. I struggle with believing in myself. I struggle with confidence. And so here's the next part of that conversation. So they come in and I say, what do you want? And they tell me everything I just said. I want to feel better, look better, be better, do better. I want to pour back into my community, and I want to help the people that I live with. And I want my family to live long, and all of these things. And I'm like, oh, this is dope. Oh, this is wonderful. Oh gosh, let's get it. Let's get it. And then the next part of that conversation, I say, well, if you want to get all the weight off, if you want to get completely off the meds, like if you want to really start a business that helps you leave your 9 to 5 and really like can sustain you, here's what it's going to take. I say, it's going to require abstinence and not moderation. I get that you think you can eat a little bit and drink a little bit of that, but your goals demands abstinence. Like if you just wanted to reduce the medication, sure, moderation might be an ideal approach. Like if you just wanted to lose most of the weight, but not all of the weight, sure, you could probably work out with just like a mid intensity. But you came in here telling me that you wanted all of the meds gone. You came in here telling me you wanted all of the weight gone. You came in here and tell me you struggling every day when you go to work or go to church or go to family gatherings and you looking at your family members sick. So if you really want to build a business that positions you as an expert and an influencer and get people to listen to you and do what you say, here's what it's going to take. Like being private about what worked before. But if you really want to be an influencer and if you really want to shift people's behavior, that's going to require you to show up on camera every week, every Monday morning at 10 a.m., despite how you feeling. Like if you really want to move the needle in other people's lives and you really want to create something phenomenal that changes people's lives, that's going to require you to work from 5 to 9 after your 9 to 5. That's going to require you to get into the curriculum and do the work when nobody is looking. Like that's going to require you to take a chance on yourself and put yourself out there. That's going to require you to show up and learn how to sell because you can't do it for free. That's going to require you to become a marketer and tell people what you do and not be ashamed of it. That's going to require you to get on some stages in front of crowds of people who are all staring up at you and waiting for you to drop gems. Like, now let me ask you again. Do you have what it takes? See, because it's very easy to say, like, okay, I'm not at a 10, but I'm striving for a 10. And it's very easy to be like, I'm about a 7, I'm about an 8, Lisa. And it's very easy to admit, yeah, I know what it takes. Sure, absolutely. It takes hard work, it takes courage, it takes blah, blah, blah. But then when I spell out the steps for you and I circle back around 30 days, 60 days, 90 days later, and you still at a 6 and you still at a 7, and it don't look like we get no closer to 10, I'm gonna be like, well, wait a minute. You told me what you wanted, and I told you what it takes. And you had the audacity to tell me you have what it takes. This is what it takes to be happy. Like you told me you wasn't happy in your relationship, and I told you you was gonna have to have difficult conversations, and I told you you were gonna have to start making decisions, and I told you you was gonna have to have the courage to choose yourself. And for some reason, your work ethic and your effort don't match what you said you wanted. Like getting off the medication completely doesn't allow any cookies and any chips in your life in this season. Like it doesn't allow any alcohol. Now you told me you understood what it takes, but it doesn't look like you do because you're not doing what it takes. Like I need y'all to understand that happiness is not a matter of the luck of the draw. Happiness is not like, oh, it just, it's like some of us are blessed and some of us are lucky enough and some of us get handed and others don't. No, 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 no. There's a gap between your 7 and your 10. There's a gap between your 6 and your 10, and something is in the gap. There's things, it takes something. Like we just had a student the other day. I'm teaching a cohort of Farm to Table right now, right? We're teaching a phenomenal cohort. We got about 38 students in this cohort. Fire, right? Fire. We got like 98% Black women and we got 2 Black men, right? And so just the other day in class, let me tell y'all what happened. One of our students, she took our 30-day challenge. So in January, every January, we do a 30-day vegan, salt, oil, and sugar-free challenge, right? So we did the challenge last month in January, right? And she took our challenge, and she was a VIP in the challenge. Shout out to the front row. And so at the end of our challenge, right, we were like in the VIP session, and she was like, man, I'm disappointed. She's like, because I keep seeing everybody else, they talking about how much weight they lost, 18, 19, 20 pounds. She's like, I done lost 6, right? She was disappointed in her little 6. I think it was 6. It was low. It was below 10. It was a single digit number. And she said, I only lost about 6 pounds. And I'm hearing everybody else. And she was like, I'm sitting here thinking like, well, what am I doing wrong? Is what she said, right? So clearly, with regard to her health, her happiness was not at a 10. Okay. So, but she decided not to give up. She decided to keep going. And she then went from our 30-day challenge and she enrolled in Farm to Table, our plant-based coaching program. And so we had our second class in our cohort last week. And at the beginning of the class, we're going over scale and non-scale victories. That's what we call them in class, right? So we're going over our scale and non-scale victories. And she raised her hand, y'all. And she said, I'm just happy to report. I'm just happy to report that I went ahead and did what you said, and I removed all of the healthy fats out of my regimen. She was like, I was going a little bit too hard on the nuts and the nut butters and the avocados. She was like, so I went ahead and significantly reduced those, right? And she was like, I'm so happy to report the scale is moving again. I done lost 3 more pounds just this week, right? She had what it takes. Like, I need y'all to understand. The needle wasn't moving, so she wasn't happy, okay? There was an adjustment that needed to be made in her diet specifically. It required her to give up a little bit of the things that she was really enjoying. Although they were not disease promoting, they also weren't weight loss promoting. And I tell everybody who's on a weight loss journey when they come into the plant based world that sometimes we can go a little crazy with the nuts and the seeds and the nut butters and the avocado because they're so delicious. So while they're healthy from a weight loss perspective, they can stall your weight loss if you're over consuming them. And so that was a piece of advice that I gave her during the challenge. Like, I need you to check those healthy fats because that's what I had to do years ago when I was trying to drop 10 pounds. I'm like, oh, shoot. I can't eat a whole avocado every day, right? I can't just binge on nuts till I get to the bottom of the jar. Like, I got to have some self-control, and that helped move the needle for me. And so I give that same advice to our students, and she did it. So it can be as simple as, I'm here, I want to get here. There's something in the middle, and what's in the middle is what it takes, right? And so she was willing to she said, I finally did it. Right. And so sometimes I need you guys to understand that where you want to be in your career, in your relationships, in your marriage, in your friendships, in your social circle, in your personal development, in your growth is not unattainable. Like, it's within your reach, like it's within your grasp, but only if you have what it takes. Like our students in our business accelerator, I'm like, listen, if you want to be the voice in your specialization, if you want to be the expert in your unique lane and within your dedicated lane, if you want people to be attracted to you and be attracted to your offer in your business, you got to show up and build a relationship with your audience. Like, come on, YouTube, come on, Instagram. I know y'all. Like, I'm on here every Monday. Like, when I see my regulars, when I see Karen, when I see Stacy, when I see Regina, when I see Terrence, I'm just like, what up though, y'all? Like, we have a relationship. I don't think it's a coincidence that then when I make an offer that aligns with the problem they're trying to solve, they're like, sign me up. That's what we all want in our business, right? They know I operate out of integrity. They know I'm going to give them what I say I'm going to give them. They know I'm honest. I don't think it's a coincidence that Regina watched me on social media and was like, oh, that's the coach I need to help me take my business to the next level. And so when I made an offer publicly, Regina took me up on my offer, scheduled a phone call privately. I didn't have to sell Regina. All I had to do was tell her the logistics, how much, what time did we meet, how long we going to be together. And that was it. Like, if you want to have that type of ease in closing deals and getting clients, I tell my students, you gonna have to show up and build relationships with your audience. You can't sit back privately, scared of the public light, scared of the microphone, scared of the camera, and then expect somebody to just believe you and trust you, and they ain't built no rapport with you. I built rapport with my audience because I really believe in what I'm selling, and I really believe in what I do, and I really believe my solution will solve the problem I say it will solve. And so if you want that same result, you're going to have to show up publicly, and you're going to have to show up publicly consistently, and you're going to have to show up publicly with confidence, and you're going to have to premeditate what you're going to say before you show up so that you deliver high quality content. And I say, do you have what it takes? You're upset about the state of health in your community and your family. But then that means if you want to change the state of your people's health, you got to show up as a leader. You got to lead from the front. You got to do everything you're telling them to do. You got to eat right. You got to exercise consistently. You got to pray consistently. You got to do mindfulness. You got to meditate. You got to drink water, right? You got to set boundaries. You got to hold the boundary. And so I'm like, so now, do you have what it takes? Because if what's going to get you from the 5 and a 6 to a 10 is going to be you showing up publicly when you're naturally introverted. If what's going to get you from a 5 or 6 to a 10 is you showing up when you don't feel like you look your best, when you not super confident in the way you sound and the way you talk and the way you speak, that's what it takes. So do you have what it takes? If you're saying helping people every day in this particular area will make you happy, do you have what it takes to be happy? Everything you want is well within reach. Everything you want is within your grasp. but do you have what it takes? You say you want to be in a different pant size. You're not satisfied with your current pant size. Well, what it takes for you to be happy when you look in a mirror, I know what it took for me was it took me hiring a trainer, a coach. I was like, oh, I can't DIY this. I can't do it myself. I'm gonna have to get help. Right? It's going to take me to change my diet. It's going to take for me to work out even when I don't feel like it. It's going to take emotional intelligence so I'm not eating my feelings. Do you have what it takes to be happy when you look in the mirror? I need y'all to understand that happiness is just an assessment. Like, only thing you need to be happy is what it takes to be happy. Like that means you need the work ethic. Let me list some characteristics so that we're super clear. Like, it takes work ethic. It's going to take time management. It's going to take task management. It's going to take you having boundaries. It's going to take you making non-negotiables. It's going to take you making, here's the tough one, decisions. If right now, part of the reason you're not happy is because you're indecisive about so many things in your life. Like, do I want to stay at this job or do I want to go? Like, oh my God, it pays me what I believe to be a reliable paycheck every week or every 2 weeks. I have health benefits and I have this, but I'm miserable. And so you in the gray area because you're not making decisions. Nobody said you had to leave today, but you do need an exit strategy. You do need to have steps that's going to get you out of that job, but you're not even willing to create the exit strategy because you're too indecisive. So what is it going to take for you to be happy in your career? It's going to take you becoming a decision maker. What does it take? Happiness is not happenstance. Happiness is intentional. Like when I reflect on my life and I'm like, man, I'm really happy with my social circle. Like I'm really happy with my career. I'm really happy with the company that I've built. I'm really happy with my team. Like I'm really happy in my relationship. Like I'm really happy in my health. But I wasn't born a 4, a 6. I built this. Like I didn't wake up like this, right? I worked for this. Like I lost 60 plus pounds. I had to do what it takes to be happy in my health. So happiness is not a happenstance. Happiness is not reserved for those selected few who are chosen. Happiness is something that you wake up every day and decide that you want, but then you have to look at where you are versus where you want to be. And you have to understand very clearly what it takes. So that means that when you come to somebody like me, who's an expert and a specialist in my field in plant-based nutrition, when you come to somebody like me, who's an expert and a specialist of building online coaching companies, if you come to a specialist and you tell them exactly what you want, I've had people come to me and they be like, Lisa, I want to travel like you. I want to speak like you. Like, I love the way you build community. I love the way you lead people. I want something very similar. And I'm like, oh, okay, bet. Well, here's what it's going to take. And they like, whoa, all of that? I'm like, all of that. Like, it takes something. Like, and so last year, you guys know that I've been working on my book, Radical Obedience. And I didn't want to take that rough draft into 2025. And so I had to look at what it would take for me to be happy for the process of writing my book, for the state in the process of writing my book, for getting it closer to being released. I said, what is it going to take? Because I'm not happy with the state of my book right now. So what is it going to take for me to move the needle and get my satisfaction level with this process to a 10? Some of us are dissatisfied in the process. And so I looked at how many days were left in the year, and I looked at how many pages I had to edit, and I had to do some math. I said, if I want to take a cleaner version of this book into 2025, I got to work on it every single day. I broke it down. I had to edit 3 pages a day to take a new, better version of this book into 2025. Do y'all know how hard that was? I had to challenge myself. I said, Lisa, do you have what it takes to edit this book?